Hello, my name's Julie and you're very welcome to my channel, which is about sewing, knitting, patchwork and quilting and a little bit of crochet, but I am a fairly new crocheter. I'm coming to you from just north of Glasgow in the UK, and this is episode 20, and today I think is the last day of March or nearly the end of March. And I think this year has just flown. It's a nice spring day out there. Birds are tweeting and I do have some washing out. So that's a good start to the day. So I'm going to start off. I have one main finished item and plus this top I want to talk about, plus a work in progress. So not sure how long this episode will be, but let's crack on. So what I'm wearing is my finished item for this week, and it's the Whittaker pinafore. Now I'm on a roll with these. This is my third one, so I may be pinafored out by now, but I am pleased, particularly with this one. I will put in a little video of me wearing this outside rather than me standing up and messing about in here. So I'll put that in now and then come back to chat about the process of making this. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. Hope the video worked. So I made a size 10. The Merchant and Mills patterns are, I think, quite generous. So I opted for a 10, which I think fits fine. The main thing I want to talk about is the dyeing process, because on my other videos I have talked about the process of making the Whittaker. So the dyeing process. I started off with this piece of fabric, which is a mustard. Now, I don't like that on me. I bought this, to be honest, it's a fairly recent acquisition. I bought it off eBay and not sure how much, £5 British. It wasn't much at all. And there's quite a lot to it. So, as I said, don't like that colour on me. So I thought I'd dye it. And I have dyed various things before. If you've been on my channel before, I do dye things with commercial dyes. So I had a sachet of hand dye, which I used. But what I did, I cut out the pattern pieces and I just dyed the pattern pieces. I didn't dye the whole garment. As a result, there was a lot of fraying. I hadn't overlocked it. Also, as I mentioned on a previous video, because I then hand washed after the hand dye, I didn't wring it out properly. And I put it over a clothes frame to dry and I ended up having lines. So back to square one. I then used, I'm going to reach over, so excuse me, a machine dye that you put in your front loader washing machine. Same colour, espresso brown. And to be honest, I did want a darker brown, but it seems from their colour chart, Dylon don't do the dark brown anymore. So anyway, I made the garment, then I dyed it, and success. The lines have disappeared. And I also, and I'm going to talk about the other bits of fabric I used, I also put orange bias binding for the hem, and that's dyed a nice brown, and a grey linen for the lining. So made the garment, dyed it, and it's a success. So I'm very pleased with how it's turned out on the second dyeing, because I thought, oh blimey, is it going to be a waste of the fabric? So anything else I need to say about this? The buttonholes ended up, I can't remember which side. I think it might have been, I can't remember. I think it was one of these lower buttons. The buttonhole maker on my machine was getting jammed. And that's the type of thing, if you do make buttonholes on machines, that's the type of thing I expect you'd use. And what I was doing, I put a larger button than the button that was going to be used in order to make sure there was plenty of space. And I did 3 buttons fine. And when I got to one on the pocket back, what may have happened is the button had slipped out of the sliding mechanism. So it ended up, the buttonhole setting was just going back and forth, and I had a big clump of thread sewn. So I ended up then using a stitch ripper, and can't see it here now, or my tweezers, and just a snips to try and get all the thread out of the previous buttonhole that had gone wrong. And if you've ever tried to undo a buttonhole, it is quite tricky. And I did end up tearing the fabric a little, but then when I took most of the thread out, I managed to successfully make a buttonhole. So that is a bit of an issue with this machine. It doesn't like doing buttonholes on thick fabric, and I suppose I haven't got the patience to do a hand sewn button. I should try, I suppose. So that's the buttonhole. The buttons came from my stash, and I had, let's see, 7 of these lighter brown. Difficult for me to show it here. 7 of those, and I think 4 of those which are slightly different colour. So what I ended up doing was using the 6 lighter ones at the top of the attachment, and the darker ones at the bottom. My aim is to use stash, not to go out and buy more stuff. So I think that works. I sew my buttonholes, my buttons, on the machine using this foot, which was a little bit tight. And I do have on my machine a bar that you can use to lift the foot a bit higher. I think because it's a sort of basic quilting machine, it doesn't have a slightly longer arm, but it's not a long arm. So I used that to take the foot as high as it would go to get the buttons in, because they are quite thick. Oh, sorry, thick buttons. So that worked. And the other thing, again, I'm trying to use up stash, is I did manage to get through lots of brown thread. So that clears a little space in my thread stash. I went through a phase of buying off eBay sewing baskets, you know, the nice cloth ones with all the little compartments. I ended up, I think I bought 3 or 4, and some of them came with notions such as thread, scissors, etc. So I have got a lot of different coloured threads. Plus, I had my late mother's thread stash. She was a super dressmaker. So I'm pleased to use some of these threads because that clears a little space in my thread drawer. I also overlocked with brown thread. Now, I didn't have all the same colour cones, but it was fine. I mixed a lighter brown, a beige, and some darker brown, 4 cones for my overlocker. So pleased with that I used some of my threads, and pleased with the Whittaker pinafore. I think that's going to be it for now for the Whittakers. I have a navy one, a blue one, and now a brown one. I wanted a brown one because I have chunky boots, which are brown, and I thought it would go nice with my chunky boots. So that's my Whittaker out of the way. The other thing I want to talk about is this brown t-shirt, which again, there's a dyeing story. I cut out the pieces for the t-shirt and I used some of this white. I have a big pile of this. It's so soft. It's beautiful. It's organic Jersey cotton. It's very fine. And it was gifted to me by one of my sister-in-laws who has a clothes design business. And I said on a previous video, she uses wonderful fabrics, Japanese fabrics. This is organic cotton. And she kindly gifted me this big stash. Now, I haven't used much of it. I think this is the first proper garment I made. So I dyed the pattern pieces with the pattern pieces for this and dried them the same, and I ended up having a line where I put them over the clothes dryer, but re-put it in with the washing machine dye and disappeared. The lines have gone and it's a much nicer colour, I think, espresso brown. But what I did, I sewed it before I put it in with the machine dye. I wouldn't just dye the pattern pieces again because I think it does throw out the grain of the fabric a bit as well when it's on rinse. Anything else to say about that? No, so I'm pleased with that. And as I said, it is so soft. It is beautiful fabric. So the other thing I've been working on is a Mohair t-shirt, which I'm getting through my Mohair. I haven't got loads now, and again, it's stuff that was gifted me or came from my mother's stash. So this is the pattern I've used, which is a free download of Ravelry, and I will write the patterns at the end of the episode. And I wanted something that was a bit more fitted, because I've made a lot of more baggy things recently, and anyway, I wanted to change. So I opted for this one. It's a nice straightforward pattern. It's printed in black and white because our printer is now saying we need more ink, and honestly, we've only just bought some. They don't last long. Anyway, and my version isn't striped like this. My version, I would call it colour blocking. So I think that's going to be really pretty. This Mohair, I don't even think I had the bands for this. And so how much did I use? Perhaps, I don't know, 50 grams, 75 grams. So it's got some speckles in it. It's knit in the round, and I mentioned this last week. I do the rib flat first of all, and then join it up later. I sized down my needles. I think the pattern calls for a 6mm, and I sized down to a 5.5 for the main body, and instead of a 5mm for the rib, I went down to a 4.5. Now, I think I have tried it on, and I think it's still quite, it's not as fitted as I thought, but it's a small, and the neck size down was extra small. So anyway, it's fine. It looks pretty on, and I finished this colour. This is a really, again, so soft, light mohair in a navy. And then this last ball that I'm doing the rib with is, again, I think I had the label, 25 grams, and it's got some sparkles in it. Now, this is all just trying to use up what I've got. I would have liked to just do the sleeves in this colour and just do the bottom half in this colour, but I didn't have enough yarn. So this will look nice, I think. And what else to say? I've got elastic bands to stop my stitches coming off. When I tried it on, I had a larger circular needle because I was on the main body. Now I'm on the rib. I'm not sure if that's a 80cm needle. Anyway, that wouldn't get on me without pulling the needles out. So that's not going to take long to finish, and I think it looks really cute. I think it's as I said, a bit more fitted. Anything else I need to say about this? No, I think that's it. So hopefully that's going to be done for next week. It's not going to take long. And then I think I'm on to doing the quilt I wanted to do, which the fabric is behind me. I've got a few things I've started that I haven't finished, like the sashiko, the rice bag. There is a piece of crochet that I started ages ago. So I probably will cast on another knitting item, because I like in the morning after my breakfast to sit and knit for half an hour as a nice start to the day. I'm lucky I'm retired, so I can do that. So I may cast on another knitted project, but I do have now some items I need to get back to that perhaps I've put off because I'm gone on to these other things. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. My aim this afternoon is to get back to the decorating. We have made good progress, and I will do a little video when we're finished. And I wish you a nice week. Hope you get some stitching done. Take care of yourselves and see you again soon. Best wishes. Bye.